Electrocast.
Why wait to see if you'll get something you like this Valentine's Day when you can go to BlueNile.com and find something you'll love? Whether you're looking to treat yourself to a little winter sparkle or show a galentine how much you appreciate them, Blue Nile offers a wide selection of high-quality designs, expert guidance, and free 30-day returns for the ultimate peace of mind. You can even design your own jewelry. Right now, save up to 50% at BlueNile.com. That's BlueNile.com.
Missing the point. Football. It's a wonderful time to be alive, gentlemen. It's, I think, the worst season of NFL football in my memory. I wanted to start off by talking about this. Like, Bobby and I basically tried the Sisyphean task of doing a power ranking show every week, but it was kind of just bad news after bad news. Like, every time we gave up. Yeah, I mean, every time we tried to re-rank the teams, it was like it was a who sucks worse contest every week, which is just fucking depressing. I mean, we have Mike Marcangelo joining us today. I don't know who I'm really talking to. He had to do a Patriots show every week this fucking year. So I think there was 4 weeks where you were talking about something like somewhat positive, and I enjoyed it because every time I tuned in to the MTP Boston show, when they won, it would be to hear Ray complain about them winning, and you being like, but you know. This looked okay. Like, maybe if we put this guy here, and Ray being like, nah, fuck that. No. Fuck all of them. Fuck everybody. It was really quite enjoyable, honestly. But I digress. I am DK Sizzle. I have Mike Marcangelo and the real DK Buck Kelly with me. I don't like this season of NFL football. My favorite quarterback got hurt. That sucked. It sort of seems inevitable that the 49ers are going to meet the Baltimore Ravens in the Super Bowl. I'm not sure in their respective divisions who fucking beats either of those teams at this point. I honestly have to give you credit, Bobby. You said early the Baltimore Ravens were a wagon, and they did a little bit of a trick or treat after that, which I gloated to you about. But honestly, they just fucking absolutely steamrolled like 3 Super Bowl contenders in a row and made them not Super Bowl contenders anymore in my eyes. So, Mike, just briefly before because since they've already clinched these two teams, and we're going to talk about playoff scenarios, I would love to talk about, and by the way, listeners, at the end, after we talk about these playoff scenarios, we do have the results of our prediction show this week. I know we're a week early, but I did the math, and we can tally it up. So, Bobby, you'll have to represent your teammate here this week when dealing with the news, or maybe being happy about the news. I don't know. I mean, I do know the answer, but I'll reveal it to you after we talk about the playoff scenarios. So, Mike, I'll start with you. You're a bell ringer on the, like, prove it to me in the playoffs, Lamar Jackson. This has been a take of yours since he was drafted, honestly. I mean, you've kind of been out on him or down on him. Has anything over the past few weeks may change your mind about that, or are you still riding on the, like, show it to me in 3 weeks when they've completed their bye week and they have to play in the playoffs?
So I think that Lamar looks different this year as opposed to his MVP year, right? And the biggest difference, I think the three of us talked about this when I was on the power ranking show. His decision making is just much cleaner and much quicker this year. Like, he hits the third step in the pocket and he knows where he's going to go with the ball. I think that's a byproduct of the fact that he has great wide receivers. Actually, now
he did finally give him weapons.
Yeah, it's about time. I still am in the. You need to prove it to me, only because their kryptonite is defense now. And I say defense in the sense that speed. So if they have to match up against Miami in the playoffs, that's going to be a tough matchup.
He just crushed Miami.
I was going to say, they just wagons them. They just wagon them.
They just moved them right out of the way, though. Like, it was really
easy. Listen, I would completely get what you're talking about if they didn't just literally take Miami and wipe their fases on the floor for 4 straight quarters. Listen, that game was not close for 1 second.
Also, Jalen Waddle and Ashane didn't play in that game.
No, Shane played. He did.
No, he didn't. Oh, no, sorry. Mostert didn't play.
Mostert was out. Mostert was out, yeah.
So, two of their 3 fastest people on offense weren't playing.
I'll give you that.
Okay. I will. I mean, that's all fair, Mike. I do think that, like, I do think that it was a professional dub on the part of the Ravens, and like it kind of convinced me. I mean, 1 week after next, and like the problem is Miami do what the Ravens do. They're a very similarly built team, except the X factor under center in Baltimore is just like Tua is not that. You know what I mean? And like I would be saying that if it was the Lamar of a year ago or 2 years ago, like if they had a matched up against them like in all other areas. But honestly, like I of course think that the Dolphins skill players are better than the Ravens skill players, but like not by a crazy amount. Like just the Tyreek Hill factor, really, because he's that much better than fucking everybody in the league. But like Zay Flowers is really entertaining to watch. Like I watched that.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
I watched that 4-quarter waxing, knowing the results, like knowing how it was going to end, just because the Ravens were so much fun to watch on offense in that game. Like I was glued to it. So
What's cool about them too is like when Andrews went out, you're like, is that gonna be what is like the kryptonite?
I really thought that was the end.
They're Did
you see those advanced analytics
with
did
Likely,
you see
man?
the advanced analytics going into that injury? Lamar with Andrews, Lamar without Andrews. It was like the first draft pick they put off when he got hurt. It was like, I was like, oh, he's fucked. Like it's absolutely all over for him, right? No. Turns out it unlocked the whole offense once he didn't have a safety blanket. But to your point, Mike, it is the playoffs. And Lamar Jackson has historically completely changed who he is as a quarterback every time he enters the postseason. So if they come up against Miami and Lamar does that, I could 100% see your point. And Bobby, you have to admit, like it's not as if it hasn't happened every single year on year, where he just becomes a shell of himself. And yes, I agree, Mike, that he's different, but you know, we've seen it before. We've seen guys that can compete in the regular season, like at a really, really high level, and like they just can't get it done. We've seen it a lot of times.
I can't believe I'm going to do this, but we've never seen Lamar on a team with skilled players up to his par. Like it's just been Mark Andrews, and then their number one wide receiver was fucking Rashard Bateman, right? Like now they have Zay Flowers, they have Odell Beckham, they have Nelson Aguilar as a 3 is still a pretty damn good number 3 in that offense.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys were saying that, like you guys were talking about Aguilar in that sense, you know, in his prior iterations. It's like it's fine if he's 3 or 4. He was
just our number 1.
Yeah, he can't be your number 1. I mean, I don't want to say it, but I agree. I mean, this is kind of a weird aside, but I'm a little high, so I'm gonna ask you guys this question. I watched a TikTok video today that was like, Mike Vick says that Lamar Jackson's a more dynamic runner than him. And then it like spliced in like side-by-side highlights of Vick and Lamar running. And I don't think they run anything like each other. Like, I don't think they're the same quarterback at all. I think it's like, if you're comparing them, it's like they're both black and they're both fast. And it's like, I think the comparisons sort of end there. But as far as just a runner goes, who would you rather have scrambling for you right now? Vick or Lamar? Because I think his dynamism's gone up a level this season with his scrambling also. Like when he decides to run, it's the right choice almost every single time. And like, I feel like Vic sort of had to run a lot of the time, but as a runner, I feel like Vic was better. Like, what do you think?
I feel like that's where it is. It's like it's evolved to where Lamar is so good at everything else that he doesn't necessarily need to run. So when he does, it's so much harder to stop because you actually do have to have your backs to him a lot of the times. Whereas Vic, you know, every defense was shadowing 2 guys on Vic almost every single play. You know, if you weren't, you literally had to. So
you had to in Madden, you had to figure out how to run the spy. Like you were like, what's the play where I leave a guy there?
QB spy,
sure
bro.
It's like
eventually they just inserted a play for you. They're like, yeah, this is it. Here it is.
The difference, though, between the two, though, is like you knew that Vic was going to run, and you weren't going to be able to stop him. Like you just couldn't. When Lamar was going to do that, you could still stop them and beat them. Right now that he has the elements to be passed first, I would take this iteration of Lamar over that. Was it Madden 05 Vic?
04.
Where
I think
04. It was 04. Yeah. Because then he broke his leg. He broke his leg like that next season, right?
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
I mean, you know, I think if a running quarterback is fun. But a running quarterback that makes the decision to run and unless he's playing your team, it's one of the most frustrating things. Aaron Rodgers, for all his faults, like he always made the right decision when it came to like when he would actually use his legs, and he was like pretty fast and athletic for a lot of his career. And it's like, shit, we cut off all his passing options, and now look what he's going to do to us, which I feel like in the postseason is such a huge asset. But what were you going to say, Bobby?
I feel like I have a route here where everyone is correct, and I know, shocker, I'm the one that gives both sides, point of view here, but I'm pretty sure we're right. But I know I'm pretty sure we're right. about this being the case, right? Every year, Lamar does shit the bed in the playoffs. Every single year, it's almost history at this
But
point.
Mike's
Or it
still
is
like
history.
sitting
It's
here
almost
saying
fact.
he's not going to do it this time, which makes me feel like this year he is going to do it.
But
You're
this
jinxing
year is
it back in
different.
your own direction.
Now, this year is different because the NFL is just, as we've been saying, man, a piece of shit from
so
top
bad.
to bottom.
It's so bad this year.
And I feel like
It took me so long to come to terms with that. Like I was in denial about it for weeks.
It was literally week 6 where I said the Ravens were the best team in the league because like you could just watch an NFL Sunday and see that they were an actual football team. Whereas most of the teams you're watching are not NFL football teams. You know what I mean? Like probably 2/3 of the league would be in the bottom third in most seasons. Would you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking that with the look at the story that is the Cleveland Browns this year. Like this guy goes down.
They suck.
And I'm like, I know, dude, but like that's like everyone else's fault for letting them win that many fucking games. Like that's so pathetic. You can't be getting Joe Flacco off the fucking couches, your 9th choice fucking quarterback, and having a fucking two games over 500 to finish out the fucking season. That's bananas. I can't.
Is he legitimately a top 10 quarterback in the NFL right now?
I think he might be right now.
Yes.
I think he might be a top 5
right now.
Like, quite frankly, which is so embarrassing for the rest of the quarterbacks in the NFL. So embarrassing. Honestly, I'm just gonna say this to you guys, and as my final declaration on this, because we're about to be done having opportunities to talk about the Bears. But I'm gonna start the bubble teams. We'll start in the NFC. We'll start with the Packers. They play the Bears this weekend. The Bears, I think, should move on from Justin Fields and draft Caleb Williams number 1 overall. That's what I think that they should do. I think that the advanced analytics on Fields are atrocious. They're absolutely atrocious. Like percentage chance to score a touchdown on a drive, he's like 25th. Percentage chance to score when already in the red zone, he's like 27th. There's like a lot of eye test folks out there that are saying like, he had this great game against this team and he was better against Cleveland than most teams. And I'm like, look, it's a quarterback driven league. You need a top 5 to top 8 minimum quarterback to win a Super Bowl. And that should be the goal. It's not a guarantee that Caleb Williams is going to be that. In fact, I'm nervous about drafting a USC guy, and I'm nervous about drafting a guy who had bad games in college that like really, I mean, maybe it says something that like the guys that were AAA prospects really never had that on their resume, like it was, but maybe college football has more parity now. Maybe it's different, but they got it. They got to do it. They have to. And like, there's a lot of other pieces there. I think I was a little lulled to the idea of getting Marvin Harrison Jr., just getting him in general, just having him on the team would just be like so fucking awesome. Just the idea of it would be so awesome from the jump. But I just think we just need to go get Caleb Williams and have like our shot at having a real top 5 QB. That's because like, look at CJ Stroud this year. Like, look at what he did with that horrific fucking Texans team. He made them, as we're going to talk about today, a genuine playoff team, possibly after this Sunday if they beat the Colts. So Fields wasn't doing that this year. He just wasn't. And I think he has a better team around him than CJ Stroud does. So I think
here's what I would do. I would just carry on with that team. If I were the Bears,
keep both of them.
No, I would say
I hate that idea.
LA Rams, I will give you Justin Fields for Puka Nacua and a 2nd round pick right now. And they're going to draft Caleb Williams with 2 number 1 wide receivers.
Would they do that?
And
would they do that?
Matt Stafford's, how old is he?
Would they do it? I feel like the Falcons
I would do it.
Real hungry to do it.
I feel like they would trade Kupp before Nacua. No, at this point.
I would definitely not do it for Cooper Kupp at this point.
Cooper Kupp,
DJ
Moore,
at this point.
But
I would do
him and DJ Moore are similar
Kupp.
to each other. I would do. I think they're
bro.
Too
If you give Caleb Williams, DJ Moore, and Cooper Kupp, bro, get the fuck.
I guess like him and DJ Moore are very similar wide receivers. They're both like yards after the catch, like playmaking wide receivers. I think you need a guy. I think you need a guy that can go like Marvin Harrison Jr. is a deep threat. Like he has Randy Moss potential. That's why I want him. Like that's the idea of that is so fucking sexy in my head. Is there a way we can get both him and Caleb Williams? Is there a possible way to do that? Is there any
without trading Fields?
No, you trade Fields. and you get Caleb Williams and you get Marvin Harrison Jr. also. There's no way, right? Like would you need 1 and 2, or like would you need 1 and 3? Because I feel
you
like
probably need a 1 and 2.
Somebody's taking a QB at 2 also probably though, right?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Yeah, someone's trading up to get May. Yeah, to get May.
Yeah.
It's possible, yeah.
And then maybe if you can get to 3, if you trade your first round pick, would you trade the Bears first round pick and whatever you get for Fields for that 3rd pick to get Marvin Harrison Jr. also? Because that would be, I'm going to go do it in Madden after we're done in this game. Anyway, if the Bears beat the Packers this weekend, if the Bears ever needed motivation to beat the Packers in the last 10 years, I'm glad this game actually means something. It's obviously our biggest rival. They've been talking a horrendous amount of shit this week about just our franchise in general. Like Jordan Love passed the all-time QB yards for a Bears quarterback. Like a Bears quarterback has never thrown as many yards as Jordan Love through this season, which is like not that many. And that's very upsetting. And they've been talking a lot of shit. And fucking dumbass Aaron Rodgers in between, like accusing people of going to Epstein Island and getting dunked on by fucking comedians on Twitter, has also been dunking on us and being like, we, the Green Bay Packers. I'm like, you're a Jet, but that's cool. I would really love to beat them this weekend. That would be awesome. And knock them out of playoff contention. How likely do you guys think that is? Well, based on what you've seen of both teams this year.
I think the Packers right now are playing like like they are a playoff team, and I think Jordan Love is better than I thought he was going to be. I mean, I don't think he's predictions later.
Personally,
we'll get to the predictions later, but man, I still think Green Bay somehow just owns Chicago. Man, I don't know why. I don't know what it is, and Fields isn't the guy to take it away from the Packers. So I think it's likely that the Packers are going to win this game.
It is a fucking it is the final exam of Justin Fields, though, isn't it? Because if he comes out and styles on the Packers, like there's no world in which the Bears fan base is going to want to get rid of him. But if he comes out and sucks, it's like, all right, just fucking draft Caleb Williams, whatever. Because this could look like the best masterstroke in the history of like GMing. Like Poles could come out looking like such fucking genius if he uses this pick correctly, because then you just look back at that trade with Carolina and you're just like, wow, you guys are embarrassing. Like already it's like borderline that, but like if we turn this pick into somebody franchise level, like anyway, Bobby, do you think we have a chance? Because I do agree with you that the Green Bay has fucking owned us, but we've owned the other two, which has made me feel a little bit better. Like no matter the situation, you saw us beat up on the fucking Lions, who are apparently everybody's darling the other week. But Bobby, do you think we have a chance at winning this game and knocking them out of playoff contention? It would feel so good.
Absolutely. I mean, I think they've been playing all right coming into this game. They barely beat the Panthers, but they did smoke the Vikings. So, yeah, just because the Bears are playing so good lately. You know what I mean? I feel like this is who the Bears have been. So I would say yes.
That feels good. Here's a wild scenario. If we beat Green Bay and Seattle lose and Tampa Bay lose, Minnesota gets into the playoffs at
8-9.
8-9.
We still got the point, by the way.
What happened?
Would we get the point? We get the point.
Yeah, yeah. I talked you into 7-10. Remember?
Oh yeah, you're taking credit for that.
Where
I mean, the NFC North looks pretty good for us, and I want to take a little credit for that.
Where did Josh Dobbs go? Can I ask that? What happened to Josh Dobbs?
You mean
like
the top 15 QB
interceptions
in the league?
and
Yeah.
got fucking. It's like I told you he was gonna. The fuck?
No, top 15 QB.
He was like America's darling for a week and a half.
Your fucking
he was
darling.
just gone.
He was
everyone's darling, bro.
No, he was
Everyone's.
your Peyton Pritchard. That's what he was. And he fizzled out way faster.
He was America's darling until the Bears game, when it was just the worst display of football. DK thinks it was good, but it was a terrible football game. That was a horrible
I didn't
game.
say it was a good football game. I said it was entertaining to watch because there was a lot of turnovers. That's entertaining. I don't think it was a high skill level like football game, but when the teams turn the ball over a lot, it's fun to watch. There's like events in the game. And that one pick was sick, and he did it again the next week, so it was no fluke. But I think it would be really funny if the Vikings made the playoffs and we still got our point and they got immediately bounced out with their 9th string QB. It would just be so hilarious. So hilarious. I do find it funny also that your buddy that freaked out in the fantasy football chat lost because he rated your team for Justin Jefferson, who put up like 6 points. Because you kind of tanked him. just putting that out there. So
I hate to say I told you so,
I mean, this
bro,
is
but I
why we
fucking told
this
you
is
so.
why we allow all trades except for one. All right. So moving on. Um, moving on. I think the most likely scenario in that little grouping is that the Packers probably make the playoffs. But we'll see. Seattle also have a decent chance. Who would you rather see in the playoffs, Seattle or Green Bay, Bob? I am really disappointed in Seattle. I think the first 6 weeks they were a lot of fun to watch, but these last weeks they look like they've never played football before.
It's Green Bay. They're dysfunctional. It was Jair Alexander getting suspended for that whole coin toss shit and Jordan Love being up and down. Like, listen, the Seahawks, yes, they're not playing great, but they still have fucking Pete Carroll. They still they almost beat the Cowboys. And they did who did they beat a couple weeks ago? The 49ers? The Chiefs? The 49ers, right? No, the Eagles. The Eagles. They beat the Eagles.
Right.
Which who knows how good
everybody
that is
seems
now,
to be able to do now. So.
Yeah, but they still can beat some of the best teams in the league. Like, they have the talent to do it. Green Bay, in my opinion, I feel like it's just one of those teams that's kind of average, and they're the team that loses 35
can't be losing to
10.
Jordan Love, right? The Cowboys can't be losing to Jordan Love in the playoffs.
Correct.
Right? That's crazy.
Correct.
That's
if they lost to Pete Carroll, DK Metcalf, I'd be pissed.
You could make excuses and convince yourself next year was going to be the year. Yeah.
Exactly. Correct.
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. I think, Mike, for just as a neutral looking at this side of the NFC, who would you rather see in the playoffs between those two teams? Who do you think can do more damage? Is it also the Seahawks for you?
So
I mean, Minnesota's also an option if you wanted to pick them.
Yeah, I don't want to see Nick Mullins in the fucking Minnesota Vikings. I don't need
somebody they found in the parking lot playing quarterback.
Yeah. Minnesota. I think from a talent and coaching perspective, you're gonna want the Seahawks in there. I just remember this makes me feel old when they still had Pete Carroll as the head coach. Used to be a fucking punchline, and now we're saying it as this is a positive in the playoffs because of what he's done in Seattle. I do think that they're a completely different team on the road though. So I think Green Bay can win on the road. And I think people will look down at Green Bay so that they could probably go a little bit further in the playoffs. And nothing would warm my heart more than Jordan Love and the Packers beating the Cowboys and bouncing them from the playoffs. That would just be the best.
You make a good point. You make a good point about the road team. I mean, the Seahawks on the road have just been so fucking turgid this year. They're really genuinely bad. And I've only been following it closely because I had DK Metcalf in 2 leagues, and it was just great week, and then just fucking fell off an absolute cliff. I bet big on the Seahawks this year, and they really just let me down. So yeah, I mean, I would not like to see Green Bay in the playoffs. I think the funniest scenario would be Minnesota. I pick Minnesota out of those teams. That would be the funniest. Green Bay have the best chance. All they have to do is win their game. The Seahawks need to win their game, which they probably will because they're playing the Cardinals. But they need Green Bay to lose. So that'll be an interesting watch. Let's talk about the NFC East, though. Philadelphia just needs to win. That's the situation we're in. They win, they clinch the NFC East. However,
other way around, my friend. Other way around.
What?
No, Philly only clinches. Yeah, Philly only clinches.
Dallas wins.
If Dallas wins, Sorry, you're right. Dallas has to lose. Yeah. Philly has to win. So. Yeah. How that happened over the course of a few weeks, I'll never know. Except we talked about this 5 weeks ago on the Power Rankings show. When I put both of their schedules up next to each other, and I walked you through game by game the scenario in which you win this division, and we got all the way to here. We got all the way to this week. Now, I will say, I think the Eagles won the games we thought they were going to lose and lost the games they thought they were going to win to a certain extent, but the Cowboys won the games they needed to win. There was obviously that 1 week with a big dip that thankfully for you, we didn't even actually have to talk about because we didn't do a show that week, but they have won the games they needed to win. To Mike's constant point, I'm going to go to Mike first on this. To Mike's constant point, they beat a couple of winning record teams in that run. So Mike, anything changed for you? Kind of same question as Lamar Jackson. Anything changed for you for the Cowboys? How I feel about it is if they are able to clinch the NFC East this weekend, if Philly lose and they're able to clinch the NFC East, which means they have a lot longer until they potentially see the 49ers, which is the situation they need to be in to get to an NFC title game at the very least. If they see the 49ers along the way, they're not getting there. I really don't think so. Their best dice roll is someone else upsets the 49ers. They're not built to beat that team. Someone else upsets the 49ers, they have a chance to get into the Super Bowl. That's how it needs to play out. So I think they have that shot. How likely do you think that is? And what do you think is going to happen this weekend with the NFC East?
Yeah, so I think if every team is healthy, the 49ers are going to be in the Super Bowl. So I don't think that there's anything that's going to happen that's going to change my mind. But I think
that's the show, guys. Have a good.
I think that on the field, the Cowboys have gotten like exponentially better on offense, and I think that it's Dak. It's Dak. He's making the right decisions. We haven't seen the typical Cowboy like fuck up at the end of the game. But Mike McCarthy is good for one of those.
Yeah, we have. They did fuck up.
Bro, don't even think. So they lost that. So actually,
they lost that game.
Now that you said it, they literally lost. I watched them blow that game.
Homeboy
somehow woke up the next morning. Somehow woke up. He reported. I woke up the next morning and there's a W, and I was like, that
really felt like not on Jerry Jones night. That's really what it felt like to me. Not on fucking Jimmy Johnson night. Not on Jerry Jones.
But
that wasn't Dak's fault.
If we're gonna give Dak credit though, right? We gotta also shout out my boy CeeDee Lamb as emerging as possibly today.
Here we go.
The top 2 wide receiver in the league. It's him and Tyreek right now, right? That's it. Who else?
Yeah,
who else even compares to him?
But number 1 is Tyreek by a lot.
For sure.
It's like Tyreek and then everybody else. He's like the way you framed it. It was like it's him and Tyreek over here in the corner being best friends.
Some people are saying CeeDee, bro.
Some people are saying it. It's very Donald Trump.
Nobody's saying that.
Some people.
They can say it if they want. People say a lot of things. Bro,
dude just won me 2 fantasy championships by himself. So
then that decides it then. Like that's not anecdotal at all. Yeah, look, I mean, I do think that Dak's much improved. I think that he's much improved to the point where I'm ready to give him another chance to show me that he's not the guy. Because I had decided it, but he was good enough that I'm like, fine, let's look one more time. And I mean that, one more time, let's look in the playoffs just to see. Because if not, then we have to go back to my plan where we make him pretend to be Brock Purdy. That's the only thing. That's all I got.
You know what this is? You know what this is for me, bro? This is like I'm like a 7-year gambler here that like has been fucked over so many times by fucking red, by black, just all over the fucking place. But I hit one last hot streak, and it's like, you know what? All the fucking chips are in. This is it. This is all the Cowboys.
That's a sad story though, Bobby. Like never ends well for anybody.
Listen, and I don't expect this to end well because I'm telling you, all my chips are in. This is it, guys. This is my Dak.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm tailing your bets, buddy. I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm ready. I'm ready to ride with these guys one more time because genuinely, I've
double or nothing. Let's go.
I've really enjoyed their defense the last few seasons. I think that they're a fun team to watch. I like tuning in when they're on prime time. I like tuning in the middle of the day. I like to see your ups and downs as we go through the season, knowing I'm going to talk to you about it every week. That's fun to me.
What really made me turn the corner, though, was that Chris Collinsworth, like, little blurb where he talked about Dak being like, well, one day I just was like, oh, this is how you do footwork, and this is how you work on footwork. Like,
that made me less inclined to think that he was the guy. That was like that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
But like, if he wasn't doing it before, and he was still pretty good, if now all of a sudden he's doing the basic shit to be an NFL quarterback, like, I mean,
it's a little disturbing. It's a little disturbing if he wasn't doing it. Like, what was the quarterback coach doing?
I don't fucking.
Is he not going like, yo, can you do your feet right?
You know who is the quarterback coach for years was Kellen Moore. So what the fuck does that tell you?
Interesting.
That checks out.
That definitely does check out for sure.
Sure does.
Okay, so actually on that note, I'm curious about this. Just since we talked about Lamar, we talked about Dak. Who's everybody's current pick if you had a vote for the MVP this year?
It's Lamar. It's already Lamar. It's over.
Mike?
Lamar.
The books have it at like minus 5,000, bro.
Yeah, I think that he is gonna win. And
Vegas already called. Vegas
is it really that bad?
Vegas, like,
I do agree with you that he is going to win, but I just wish we would not give it to QBs sometimes because it would be Tyreek Hill.
It's like at the odds of like if Kansas is playing like Bellarmine College. That's what the odds are right now.
I just think it
for
should
my
be
MVP.
Tyreek Hill. I honestly think it should be Tyreek Hill. Just quite frankly, because I do agree that Lamar's like had a spectacular season and he's gone up a level, but it's the weight on the position for MVP that annoys me. I think it would just be more fun. It would be more fun of a award if like Tyreek Hill could win it this year. Because for me, like
also
superhuman shit out there, like it was crazy.
It sucks that the fact that the one game that Tyreek missed that they won, so that I you just know that voters are out there saying, well, his impact on the team isn't. They lost to the Titans, but they beat the Jets, Bobby. And
no, I know. No.
Oh, I thought you were about to come after me for that. But
no.
I do believe now. I'll never be able to prove this. If he had actually like eclipsed 2,000 yards receiving, he'd win. He would win.
What is he?
I don't disagree because he's close. I think he's like 190 away or something like that.
I thought he was like 300 yards away. I thought he was 1,700 yards.
I thought he was closer than that. No,
let's look.
Yeah, let's step away. We need to pay someone to do this. So
he's at 17-17. He's not getting there.
Oh, yeah, it's very far. You're right. Okay.
I think
agree with that,
if he doesn't miss a game,
because the last time someone won that wasn't a quarterback was Peterson, correct?
Yeah, in my memory.
That was the year he went 2,000 after the ACL, and he was just like a different level. And I feel like this is the first time that we've seen a skill player reach that level, right? Every week where he's just making your jaw drop on a weekly level. So, I mean, I feel like if it was ever going to happen, this was the year. This was it,
Yeah,
I don't know if I don't know if we're ever going to see it again. I feel like it's going to be a lot.
It's like don't make that award the best quarterback award. It's like you're watering down the award. I really do think that like it would just be so much more fun if like one year like we had like a Ray Rice situation, or it was just like, fuck yeah, like let's make a safety the MVP this year, or like it's something, or not Ray Rice, Jesus Christ, Ed Reed.
I was like,
I don't know why I said Ray Rice. A Ray Rice situation, you don't get MVP awards for. You get jail time. But if we had somebody like at like an Ed Reed level, just going fucking insane, or like the next like Troy Polamalu, and we just wanted to like shout him out, give him the MVP award, like that would be fun. Let's look at the NFC South. This is another interesting one. Tampa Bay sort of has it in hand, has it in their hands. Their fate is theirs to decide. All they need to do is win. But if they don't, the Falcons and the Saints are playing each other, so that might be a win and end game. Depending on Tampa Bay's fate at Carolina. Now, probably not, because they're playing Carolina. But I'm happy to see Carolina win now that the Bears have clinched the #1 overall pick. So
did they structure it right? Is Tampa playing first?
Yes.
I hope so.
No, they're all playing at the same time.
They're
all playing at one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So just keep one eye on one and one eye on the other. It's going to be like a maybe Saints Falcons becomes an interesting game second half. That's like probably where we're going to be. If again, I'll ask the same question. If we could decide today for, I don't know, either who they might beat or whatever, who the most interesting team to see in the postseason is of these three teams, who would you guys, Bobby, who would you most likely like to see in there? I personally, for me, I thought the Falcons were going to be better than they are. So I'd probably pick the Saints right now just because they do some interesting shit sometimes. But I don't know. These three teams have just been so underwhelming all season. Who would you like to see hopefully shake things up in the postseason?
I think Tampa Bay is the only one that possibly can. New Orleans to me is a mess. I don't know what the hell they're doing with their quarterback. I don't know why Derek Carr's still playing in Jameson. I have no goddamn clue what's going on there. And in my opinion, Atlanta's Arthur Smith needs to fucking go. He needs to go. Yeah. There's too much talent on that team for that team to be playing like that. Like that is
so much better.
To me, it's complete asinine that you draft 2 skill players in the first round and use them both as goddamn decoys every week. What the fuck are you doing?
It is really strange.
Incredible.
Tyler Allgeier's right getting your time. Get the fuck out of here, bro. It's
very disappointing for Bijan fantasy owners all across the world.
It's the Bucks. It's the Bucks for sure. It's all at Baker too.
Like maybe Baker can do something, but like, come on, we still like? Is anyone still? Mike, are you still wholeheartedly buying into the Baker Mayfield experiment? Do you really think that he could actually do something in the postseason?
He's average.
Hold on. I picked the Bucks to go like fucking 5-12 this year with Baker Mayfield.
Yeah. So no.
No. Yeah, no.
No, hasn't changed.
But,
so which of these three teams would you like to see?
But out of those three teams, I think Tampa is the most interesting because they've what 3 straight seasons in the playoffs. A lot of carryover from the Tom Brady years. I think Mike Evans, I think Godwin, like they have they have good skill players and their defense is opportunistic. I don't ever want to see fucking Derek Carr in the playoffs winning. Like he sucks. And I think
I tried to tell you guys that last year, by the way. I tried to fucking tell you about Derek Carr last year, and it was like, well, maybe New Orleans changed the scenery. Like, shit happened with Stafford. Like, maybe it'll happen for him. It's like, no, he's terrible.
I mean, it also didn't help that he went to a team and their number one wide receiver hasn't played a full season in like 7 years. And Kamara was up for the first 4.
Kamara had a good year, though. Kamara had a good year. He basically saved their fucking offense, you know? I like what they do with Taysom Hill from time to time, too. It's fun.
I wish they I feel like even he would be better than Carr quarterback.
Dude, across a whole game, that would be so upsetting to watch after a while. That would be very Tim Tebow after probably 2.5 quarters. You'd be like, okay.
Might be better than Derek Carr, bro. Derek Carr sucks. He's
really, really bad. He's really, really bad. I've never liked him. I've never liked his play. I think we all saw this coming on at some form or another. Anyway, I think that's all the lip service we really need to pay to the least likely to win
that's it.
anything division in the last fucking 5 years. That is the NFC South. All right, let's jump over to the AFC. The Texans play the fucking Colts in a very interesting winner go home match. Essentially, Indianapolis have to win, but Jacksonville have to lose, and Houston have to win. But if Jacksonville lose, they get in anyway, right? So potentially the Colts and the Texans could get in if Jacksonville loses. Is that true?
I think so.
Yeah. So so Jacksonville lose this game is moot, right? Because both of these teams walk in, they shake hands at halftime, and they say like, "Let's nobody get hurt." But if Indianapolis win and no, because Indianapolis have to win. They have to win. So they're going for it either way. But Houston maybe isn't. So actually, if you're betting on this, I think the motivation is behind Indianapolis. I feel like Indianapolis are the more likely team to go 10-7 because of that scenario. Because Houston gets in, their fate's in Jacksonville's hands regardless, right? So it becomes interesting. I think at the end of the day.
No, if Houston wins, they're in no matter what. Yeah.
Why is this so? Because they're both 9-7.
It's Houston win or Jacksonville.
Both okay. Got it. They're both 9-7. I get you. This is weird. This one's really complicated. Am I an idiot or is this one complicated?
No, Houston has tiebreakers. That's
right.
what it is.
Got it.
Jacksonville has to pass Houston, but I'm pretty sure Jacksonville has the tiebreaker over Indy. Right. So if Jacksonville has to lose for Indy to get in. Right. But if Jacksonville loses, Indy and Houston ends in a tie, then they get it. I don't know.
Okay, forget tying. Yeah. We're not discussing that. It's already complicated enough. All right, copy that.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm surprised the Colts are 9-7. I'm no longer surprised the Texans are 9-7. The fact that Texans are 9-7, I mean, really, CJ Stroud deserves an immense amount of credit. This is the best rookie year I've seen. I don't know, ever. Like I think
maybe ever. It's up there.
I don't know, man. Andrew Luck's rookie year was something.
That's true. Andrew Luck, he was really good his rookie year.
Yeah, but I think the added
RG3's rookie year.
Yeah, but again, I think the added color of the fact that nobody thought CJ Stroud was going to come even anywhere close to this. And the fact that everybody said Andrew Luck was going to be the second coming of Peyton Manning. So it was like, okay, great. He had a great rookie year.
I mean, the Panthers picked fucking Bryce Young over CJ Stroud, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, at the time, that was the wisdom, wasn't it? Like, it was Bryce Young. This is why, like, you worry about the Caleb Williamses of the world. Like, you just don't know. It's such a big gamble. But I think all that being said, Indianapolis, despite being 9-7, have not interested me this year. They haven't excited me as anywhere near as much as the Texans. And honestly, that goes for the Jaguars as well. So I would honestly, of all these scenarios, I think there's two out of the 3 teams will get in. But I'm most pulling for the Texans. Bobby, do you agree?
Yeah, 100%. Not even close. Yep.
I want to see CJ Stroud in his first rookie year postseason. So have him win one.
Me too.
Like, that would be sick. That would be so
And
sick.
you know my opinion on Jacksonville. I haven't been sold on that team all year. I just think they're a bunch of frauds. You know what I mean?
But
top to bottom. I don't even know if I'm sold on Lawrence anymore. I'm still out on him now.
They've been terribly coached though. Like,
it's like even their big win. Was it really their big win, or was it the Chargers' big loss? You know what I mean? Like the thing that they're
the Chargers' big loss. Which one? The Chargers fucking lost to everybody.
But that comeback was
the Chargers were begging to get
year.
fucked in a back alley.
No, I'm talking last year.
Fucking...
You know,
oh yeah,
Lawrence's playoff win is not really a win to me. It was the Chargers' loss. You know what I mean?
But what was it though? Because the Chargers fucking suck. It turns out. So it's like, you know. No, I mean, I guess we're kind of saying the same thing. It's like, yeah,
that's what I mean.
Like, yeah. So it's like, it's not even that big of a deal that they, I agree with you.
I would just want to add, I think that the Colts season is more interesting than we're letting on, because their number one overall pick, Anthony Richardson, went down in week 4, and they're still here in playoff contention. Like, who would have ever fucking
I agree with that. Gardner Minshew.
Yeah. Minshew mania is still running wild in Indy.
Have you ever heard him speak? He is dumb.
I choose not to.
Really dumb.
He's not smart.
Yeah. What I love about Minshew though is I feel like Simmons has talked about this a bunch. Is like he's the renaissance of that backup quarterback that we all loved in like the late 90s, early 2000s that you just don't have anymore. We're like, I'm pretty sure 60% of the league would take Gardner Minshew as their starting quarterback. You know what I mean? Just because, but
he's never actually low right now.
That's very low. I agree, but he's never gonna be a starter because you can't let him start. He's not a franchise guy, but he'll do for 12, 13 games, 10 games. You know what I mean? He'll be all right. He's like John Kitna. That's who Gardner Minshew is. John Kitna.
he's a bridger. Like he's the bridge between your quarterbacks now, and he did it in Jacksonville. And he could never do it in Philly for whatever reason. But the Indy thing, I think, is way more, especially the fact that they fired their head coach last year. He goes down to Carolina and gets shit canned in 8 weeks, 9 weeks. And you get this first-time head coach. Like I said, number one pick goes down. Jonathan Taylor was out for half the year, and they're still here on the precipice of a playoff run.
I think I also heard, I agree with you. But I also heard that bit by Simmons, Bob, and I thought it was low key, like a little ludicrous, because I was like, yeah, I agree with that. Like Minshew is a lovable backup QB, but like we're in such a glut of lovable backup QBs right now. Like a couple years ago, Nick Foles coming out of nowhere, dream,
he was a good
fucking
one.
Postseason, fucking Big Dick Nick. Right now, you got a bunch of guys.
BDN, bro.
Fucking like you're always constantly on the lookout for a backup quarterback to get incredibly excited about for 3 weeks and then be disappointed. And then
I wish we had one of those here.
I mean,
I do love
this season they've been everywhere. Bro. Fucking Mason Rudolph. People are loving on Mason Rudolph right now. Comes in as the third string right before Christmas. His name's Rudolph. Has 2 good games in a row. Reignites the Pittsburgh offense. Makes him look. And we're gonna move on and talk about.
He's a starter now.
He's a starter now. Yeah, we're not putting Pickett back in. That's it. But honestly, I mean, like, yeah, they probably should have been thrown to those fucking very good skill position players a little bit better all season. So, but yeah, there's a bunch of Tyrod Taylor popped up last weekend. Again, it's like, yeah, okay, obviously go get Tyrod Taylor.
That's a good backup list.
He's right there.
Teddy Bridgewater.
The Tyson Bagent couple weeks were fun. It's like, wait, who's this fucking guy?
Actually, you know what? This has been the season of the backup quarterback. Is what we're in.
Like, I didn't understand that take from him at all. I'm like, this is everyone. Everyone's getting in on this year. You're crazy.
I'm just here to tell you that like the season of the backup quarterback didn't make its way up to the Jets or the Patriots franchise.
Yeah, it actually, funny enough, Mike.
Yeah, it did.
Because Jarrett Stidham had a great game, but you fucking got rid of him. Like, he just had an amazing game. He just had an unbelievable game. What happened?
You guys just started. You started with backup quarterbacks. That's what happened. Just from the get-go, backup quarterback.
Who's your QB now? Bailey Zappi?
Yeah. What was he? What was he? What was he at the beginning of the season? What was he at the beginning of the season?
He was cut.
He was backup quarterback.
Yeah, it's true. There's been a lot of backup QBs. I also did make this point. If you remember, like one of the last 2 times Mike was on, I did this whole speech about how you can just picture Mac Jones like in a cap on the sidelines, and like the interviews, like we love having him around. Like I was like, he's gonna be a great backup in like Jacksonville or like somewhere like that. We love having him around. Like he's a great X's and O's guy. Like he's
really knows the offense.
Starter.
He really knows
the offense. And lo and behold, that man should be getting fitted for a cap as we speak. Someone is going to take a gamble on him. Someone's going to gamble on him. Well, maybe that offense was bad. Maybe the offensive line was bad. And he's just going to – Mitch Trubisky hates him, I bet. He's like, that guy's coming for my job. He's coming for my job as the perennial backup. Okay, let's talk about the Steelers and the Bills, who somehow are each other's business this weekend, which I didn't think that was going to happen, but here we are. The Steelers need the Bills to lose, and they need to win, right? That's the scenario. If they win and Jacksonville lose, they also get in, right? If they win in Houston and Indianapolis, they get in, but I'm not seeing that as a possibility. If they we're not going that far. So here's a weird one. If Jacksonville lose but Denver win, they get in. That's fucking weird. Like if they lose and Jacksonville lose but Denver win, the Steelers get in, which would be so funny. That would be the most this Steelers team way to get in the playoffs in the history of this. And DK would be like, what, bro? They got in, dude. They're fucking they're fucking playoff team again, dude. Dude, they're fucking playoff team, bro. I can already feel the fucking migraine coming, bro. I can already feel it. It's honestly just funny to me to watch you you're just like, be bad. I know you're bad. Just be fucking bad. And they're like, no. They
can't do it.
No. Because Mike Tomlin, that's why. Because like he just won't be under 500. Like that ship has sailed again this season. He won't. If he was ever gonna lead a Pittsburgh Steelers team to a sub 500 season, it was this year, and it's not gonna happen. Anyway, of those situations, I honestly, and I know you guys probably won't feel the same way. Maybe you will, Mike. I honestly want to see the Buffalo Bills fuck up and fall out of the playoffs. That's the situation I want to see, because I don't think that they've done enough this year. I really don't. And to see them, or do I want to see them like walk into an AFC title game and get like waxed by Baltimore? That would be also a lot of fun. So one way or the other, I do want to see the Buffalo Bills sort of have to answer for their mistakes and the way that they ran their team this year. Is that at least somewhat of a consensus?
Yeah. Listen, I'm here for the Bills blowing up, and then because then the narrative is going to be Sean McDermott is going to be.
Well, first of all, whose fault is it going to be? They're going to make it Sean McDermott's fault?
Yeah. Right. Oh yeah. It will never be Josh Allen's fault.
No.
And then like their window might be shut, because I don't think Josh Allen has it. Like all the things that we say about Dak, I believe more about Josh Allen than I do about Dak Prescott.
Wow. Is it true, Bob? Is Josh Allen not the guy? Can we declare that here and now?
I mean, I think we declared that 5-6 weeks ago when we said, I have never trusted him in the red zone. I have never trusted. I always thought that he was that quarterback still that we saw 4 or 5 years ago against the Chiefs throwing backward laterals in the playoffs, down 7 in the fourth quarter. It's like, bro, what the fuck is wrong with this guy?
That's always what I've sort of felt about him. Is it's like and I think maybe consensusly this is why people still sort of hold on to not declare that he's not the guy thing, because for me, a lot of the things he does seem coachable. Like I feel like if somebody can just get their hands on him that knows what the fuck they're doing, they can coach that shit out of him, because physically he's got all the talents. I mean, we've been down this road before. We've had this conversation 7,000 times. But the reason I think this is because I think, and I don't even think you guys will argue with this, maybe you will, but if you pluck Josh Allen out of fucking Buffalo and dropped him in fucking Pittsburgh, there'd be a good fucking chance Mike Tomlin takes that dude and wins the Super Bowl with him. Like a good chance. And it's like, because it's like, look, he's perfect for that system, but he's also
he's like a better big
man. A better Roethlisberger, exactly. So it's like he just fits that whole scheme like right away. You even saw it with Rudolph. Like Rudolph honestly was a little bit better in that scheme just because he was like a little bigger, like just able to do a couple of things that like that offense needs him to do. that like require some sort of physicality that like Kenny Pickett really wasn't bringing to the fucking table, and Mitch Trubisky certainly wasn't bringing to the table. But you can actually see why they picked up Trubisky for that reason, right? Like if you look at his like whole profile and the shit that he can do. But I don't know. It's disappointing to say it, because he's so talented and he's so fun to watch at times.
Right. That's like the biggest knock now, is because if we identify like what's wrong with his game, he has to know it, and he still isn't changing.
Well, he obviously doesn't know it. Fucking Dak just learned how to walk the other day. He just learned how to walk backwards correctly. So, like, you never know. He's like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's a better way to walk backwards. It's pretty crazy.
He's not wrong.
Oh man, you're out of line, but he's not wrong.
Moving on. I think the last sort of interesting thing to talk about is Miami still haven't clinched. They just need to win. That's really all they need to do. But there's a couple of weird scenarios around them, and I'm a little bit more interested in just previewing what they're going to look like inevitably in the playoffs. I think that there's a tape now on how to beat this Miami team, and I think that that's the real problem that they're facing. Is that true? Is that also true of the Eagles? Like, I think that there's a couple of teams just coming in with like negative momentum at the exact wrong time in the playoffs, and I think it's those two guys. Those are sort of reflective of each other in each division.
Yeah, in that instance, so they remind me of like the 01 Rams, when everyone, the greatest show on turf. They're a finesse team. Finesse teams don't historically do well in the postseason, but this team is just so fucking fast, dude. Like, they're just so fast that it's not. And now you can't put your hands on the receiver at the line. They get two running backs that run a 4.2 40. So. Yes, I think that the way to beat them, like, honestly, I know that you're going to hate this, DK, sorry, but like, if you're the Dolphins, you don't want to see the Cleveland Browns in the playoffs. You don't.
No, I agree with you. Definitely
not. Definitely.
I mean, that's absolutely their kryptonite. If fucking Myles Garrett can get his hands on them, like, he will just twist them up like he'll ring them out like a dish rag. That's their fucking kryptonite. I mean, you've seen it. Every team has been able to basically bully them if they have any sort of semblance of like physicality on their team. They've just been able to bully the fuck out of them. I mean, they're a representative of their coach. I like Mike Marcangelo a lot, but he looks easy to bully. I'll be honest with you. I really do feel like I could bully him quite a bit.
Until you talk to him, I feel like he's pretty badass. If you hear him talk, he'd be tough to beat in a game of words.
Yeah, I mean, I've never lost one of those, but I would love to. I feel like the Highlander. Hearsay.
So. I just, with the Dolphins, I feel like they are the biggest Jekyll and Hyde team that we have in the NFL right now.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But
you know what the formula is to make him look like Mr. Hyde. It's just pushing around a little bit,
But I feel like we're looking at two scenarios for them, right? Where it's like we're talking about the Dolphins being the underdog team to make it to the Super Bowl, and like they beat the Ravens, and they're so fast, and they're so or they get absolutely shit stomped by one of these top AFC teams, the Chiefs, the Ravens, in the first or second round, and they are who we thought they were. You know what I
mean? What a callback.
I feel like there's no middle route for this team where it's like a close, good game where they go out with some resiliency. No, they're either going all the way or they're getting fucking ass kicked. That's where I see this team this year.
Yeah, I mean, if that was a basketball team, you would be like, yeah, sometimes they put in great performance, like the Sacramento Kings. You're like, sometimes they put in great performances and sometimes they get blown out. And that just means that that's a basketball team that can go either way. Like, maybe they become the team that's going to be like never getting blown out and they're going to win games, or they become the Timberwolves or the like of maybe 6 years ago, and then the next season they regress completely. So with football teams, I think you have to come to the full focus of your identity sooner because there's less games. So you just have to figure out who the fuck you are like very soon. And I think that you hit this as a zenith as opposed to like a middle of the road situation. So now I feel like, what are they going to do to edit that at this point in the season? And I just can't. Mike, can you think? I can't. There's nothing. Maybe you can go add a couple of guys, a couple of fucking Lawrence Taylor fucking acolytes in the offseason that will make your team a little
it's a hell of a fucking acolyte, bro.
Yeah, but I don't know because
you don't have to be as good, but
the acolyte of all acolytes is
but you go and you say I play like the, I want a guy who plays like him, not necessarily who is as good as him. But I think I think you get a couple of hard-nosed dudes in there in the offseason because at least you now identified the problem, and I still think the window's there for them. I don't think that they're done after this year. But right now, I don't know what they're going to do, Mike.
I just think that we've already seen this team grow year over year. Like last year, this team was 1-5 down the stretch. This year, they've just made the decision that they're going to be better. They've improved. I think that I don't know if you add one of those hard-nosed guys on if that's gonna make it. Like I think that the way that the league is trending is more finesse and speed, and so I think.
The 49ers are probably going to win the Super Bowl with almost the exact same team. Like it's the same fucking blueprint. So
right. It's literally the same thing. There's no difference between those two teams.
Yeah.
Right. Although they did go out and get Chase Young. And they have a Bosa brother.
No,
so
I mean, I'm not saying they're on the same level. I'm just saying they play the same style of offense. That's all.
Skill set, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see. That's my worry for this Dolphins team. Like the fact that like there's teams in the league that do what they do better than them, and then there's teams in the league that do the kind of rock to their scissors quite effectively, right? So like that's my worry with that. Like unless they sort of add another dimension, and you're saying, Mike, that they will because they have, right? They have done it, but I'm talking about now. I'm talking about this year. There's just too many teams that can beat them.
Not at home though.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Got to win away from home if you want to win a championship.
It's so wild that they could lose that division still. It's so crazy to me that Buffalo can still win that fucking division.
That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. But you know what? We should all have a pen and a piece of paper and the Discord chat open when we watch football this weekend, because it's a fun football weekend, honestally.
Yes, it is.
And I feel like
this is one of the best. This is one of the best for sure.
So we'll have a lot to talk about, and we'll have a lot to talk about next week when we reconvene and we do the full playoff preview of each game. But I did enjoy talking about these scenarios. And now it's time to wrap up the season on the score of the MTP football predictions game. So
you shouldn't be, dude.
You shouldn't be, because spoiler alert.
I shouldn't be.
You guys
we kicked ass.
Lost. No, you lost real hard.
You guys got smoked.
You got your asses kicked. But we're gonna go through. So we'll do both. We'll do the really quickly. We'll just power through it.
I feel like how positive I got. I'm like, oh, we did good.
You're a positive guy, Bob. It's one of your best qualities. You're a very optimistic young man. But no, it turns out that the real genius behind your and Mike's team was Mike, and that's you're the Belichick and Brady of the prediction game. But once we broke you guys up,
okay with that.
Fucking Mike came down to Tampa Bay and won a chip. So.
You can't do much with Mike. No, I'm just kidding, Ray. I'm just kidding.
So here we are. Let's do south to south, north to north, et cetera, et cetera. So the AFC South, you guys said Jacksonville. We're going to be 11-6. The Titans are going to be 9-8. The Colts are going to be 5-12. The Texans are going to be 3-14. So looking at the South, Jacksonville are 9-7. So if they lose this weekend, that point is still in play for you guys. Now there are a few points. We both have 3 points still in play, both teams. But you'll see that the score starts to add up, that those points in play don't matter. So you might win the Jacksonville point. You said that the Colts were going to be 5-12. That ship has sailed. You said the Texans are going to be 3-14. That ship has sailed. And you said that the Titans were going to be 9-8, and that ship has thoroughly sailed. Now, honestly, that division I'm not beating you up on. I think that was a very difficult division to call.
Let's keep going. I want to hear it.
I really genuinely think that's a tough year. That's a tough year to have had to predict that division, because CJ Stroud, we've talked about it. The NFC South, we said the Falcons are going to be 10-7. Saints were going to be 9-8. The Panthers are going to be 6-11. Again, spoiler alert.
That's my fault. That's my fault.
The Buccaneers are going to be 6-11, is what we said. What actually happened? It's okay. What actually happened was that Tampa Bay was 8-8, so that ship has sailed. New Orleans is 8-8, so we have that point. That's our point.
Yep.
Atlanta is 7-9, and that ship has sailed, unfortunately. And Carolina is 2-14.
Wait, did we say 9? We said 9-8 for Atlanta, right? So if they win this week, they'll be 8-9. We got the point.
We said Falcons 10-7 is what we said. So that ship
that sucks. That sucks.
Sorry about that. So we only got 1 point from that division, but that's okay. AFC East, you guys said the Bills would be 13-4, the Dolphins would be 11-6, the Jets would be 9-8. Now, to be fair, Aaron Rodgers went down, and you had a Pats fan on your team, so somehow you said the Patriots were going to be 8-9.
Oh my God! Why the fuck do we do that?
Unfortunately, how it worked out for you guys is that the Bills are currently sitting at 10-6, so they're not going to win 13 games. So that ship has sailed. The Miami Dolphins are 11-5, so you got that point, your first point on the board. Congratulations, because they are currently at 11-6. So whether they go,
that's it. That's their second point.
Yes. Oh, is it? Oh, I thought they just had one. Okay, great. Good for you guys. The Jets 9-8, not going to happen. Patriots 8-9, not going to happen. The NFC East. Dallas, Philadelphia, New York, Washington. We said Philly were going to be 12-5. We've got that point. Dallas, we said we're going to be 10-7. They need to lose. They need to lose and go 11-6. That's one of our points.
Here for that.
Still in play. We said the Giants are going to be 9-8. We were fucking wrong about that, but we did say the Washington Commanders are going to be 5-12, and if they win, they will be 5-12. But we've got the point either way. That was fun. We did really good in the NFC East. Good job there by us. Moving on, AFC West. Ooh, this is not a pretty picture.
This is bad.
So, and I mean, again, it was a tough year to call the AFC. I have to say. You said that Kansas City Chiefs are going to be 15-2. Unfortunately, you didn't factor in that they had no wide receivers. The Kansas City Chiefs are currently sitting at
literally not one fucking wide receiver.
Yeah, that ship has sailed for you guys. Now, the Chargers, you said we're going to be 10-7. Unfortunately, there is not enough games left for them to win 5 games in a row to make that true. So sorry about that. The Broncos, you said we're going to be 7-10. And if they win this weekend, they take that point from you, which would be very upsetting because that would put them at. You were pretty close with the Broncos, though. The Raiders, you said, were 6-11. If they win this weekend, they take that point from you. But both points are still in play for you in that division. The NFC West, Mike, I think we did bad on this one.
No, come on.
No, we did pretty good. San Francisco 12-5. They're already 12-4. We got that point. I keep losing my place. Seattle, we said, was 10-7. If they win, we get that point because they win 9 games. The Rams 7-10. That ship has sailed, unfortunately. The Cardinals 2-15. They just had to win that 4th game. And
they just had to beat the Cowboys. They just had to beat the fucking Cowboys.
They just had to do it.
No, it's the Eagles. It's the Eagles.
Either one. Right. I chose the Cowboys one.
You believe they beat the Eagles and the fucking Cowboys this year? It's fucking crazy.
I know. Why would you even do that? That's just tank, you idiots. That's fine. No biggie. So moving on to just the Norths, the North remembering. So the AFC North, again, not a pretty picture here. You said the Bengals.
I remember this. I was all in on the Bengals.
Yeah,
I was all in.
You said the Bengals are going to win 13 games. That didn't happen. You said the Baltimore Ravens were going to win 10 games. That they streaked by that weeks ago. The Steelers, Bobby, the Steelers got you a point. You said they were going to be 10-7, and they're 9-7. Look, the nice things happen to nice people. And guess what? The Cleveland Browns got you a point too, right? No, they didn't. They're 11-5. You said they're only going to win 8 games. It's not pretty. You did get a point from Pittsburgh, though. We'd love to see it. And now, Mike, the NFC North, and I know I did sway us a lot in this NFC North prediction, so any kind of badness that happens, I'll take full responsibility for. The Lions, we said we're going to be 10-7. Unfortunately, we are not going to win that point because the Lions had a very good year. Oh, no, wait. They might lose.
No,
they might lose. If the Lions lose, we get that point. If the Bears, we said we're going to be 10-7. That's definitely my fault. They're not going to be able to win 10 games. We said that the Packers were going to be 8-9, and we got that point. So, because they're currently 8-8, so it doesn't matter what they do.
Welcome.
The Vikings are going to be 7-10, and we got that point too. So we might get 3 out of 4 in the NFC North. My personal division. So I'm obviously taking full credit for that win. Now we can do the props. We can go through the props. I don't think anything's really in play, but we can talk about it. Jahmyr Gibbs is who we picked for Rookie of the Year. I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
Bijan.
We picked Bijan.
No, sorry, you guys picked Jahmyr Gibbs. You guys picked Jahmyr Gibbs. We picked Bijan Robinson. I don't think either of them are going to win Rookie of the Year, so that ship has sailed. Congratulations to CJ Stroud. Defensive Player of the Year, you guys picked Mike Parsons. I don't think that's going to happen. We picked Myles Garrett. That still could, I think.
Yep.
Who's currently the
that's in play.
First coach fired. You guys picked Dennis Allen, and we picked Mike McCarthy because I think we were being
my fault. No, it was my fault. You had Josh McDaniels.
Did I?
Yeah, you said it, and I was like, no, dude, come on, Jimmy G in Oakland with Devontae Adams, no fucking way, dude.
Well, I don't think he's very good at coaching football teams.
Miles Garrett is favorite.
Okay, great. So we might still win that point too. But anyway, the current tally total is that we're 6 points. You guys are 2 points. We have 3 points still in play. You have 3 points still in play. If you won all 3 of your still in play points, and we lost all of ours, and we have 4 still in play with the defensive player of the year, and we lost all of ours, you would still only get 5 points. So unfortunately, this game is over. That is a win for the NFC team. We'll see you.
Who'd you guys pick for MVP? Who'd you pick for MVP?
You know what? Honestly, Bobby has to run, so that's all we have time for. This has been a wonderful edition of the Football Corner Show, fun time happy hour with Dave, Bob, and Mike. I wouldn't call it a power ranking show because we didn't talk about the power rankings, but hey, next week we'll be back talking about the amazing playoff picture. Hopefully it's a fucking sick playoff here because the regular season quality has been low. But for myself, for the Real BK, Bob Kelly, for Mike Marcangelo, for our producer Craig, thank you guys so much. See you next week.
Step inside the marketing mirror to uncover marketing secrets, discover gems, tactics, lessons, and campaigns you can use, next gen or fundamentals. Grab the marketing magic to improve your marketing and win more business.
Electricast.
Are you a fan of classic cinema or a young person who wants to discover the best films of all time? Do these legendary movies still hold up?
On the Generation Film podcast, 2 guys who grew up when movies dominated the culture share a great film with a panel of young movie lovers and see how it plays for today's generation.
We discuss changes in storytelling styles, representation,
The making of each film, its initial reception, and how its meaning has changed over the years.
Join us as we explore cinema classics across generations on Generation Film.
Electricast. Electricast.